What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with some more fantasy football content. Today, I am talking my Week 4 wide receiver rankings. If you guys are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I give you all the information you need to beat your friends and family. In fantasy football, I will do buy lows, sell highs, weekly rankings to make sure you make those right start to sit questions or decisions, as well as waiver wire information. And I respond to comments down below, so any help you need, I got you guys. Get that help. That will help you win your title. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and like I said, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. But let's hop into this video. Wide receiver rankings. So at number 1, I got Davante Adams in a juicy matchup against the Chargers. Just think he's going to get a ton of targets in this game, and we saw him be unstoppable, and this is a great matchup. They're dead last against fantasy wide receivers. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. Tough matchup for him, but Tyreek's speed makes him almost uncoverable for any defense. You can only really try to limit him. I think this will be a high-scoring contest against Buffalo. I'm playing Tyreek Hill, and I have high expectations. 3, Justin Jefferson against Carolina. You're rolling him out there, and it's full stream ahead. Number 4, Keenan Allen against Las Vegas. Him and Stefon Diggs were very close to me. I put Keenan ahead because Eckler I don't think will play, and then I think he'll just get a ton of targets again. It'll be very safe. Stefon Diggs, obviously, he plays for Buffalo. He is playing Miami this week, so that's a good matchup for him. High scoring, most likely. Number 6, A.J. Brown against Washington. Good matchup for him. Love A.J. Had a good game last week. 7, Amon-Ra St. Brown against Green Bay. He does a lot of his work from the slot, so he can avoid Jair Alexander, that tough cornerback matchup. But he is going to be good to go tomorrow night. He looked good last week, too, with that injury. 8, Jamar Chase against Tennessee. It's a good matchup for wide receivers. Just a little bit worried about him in the quick game they were doing last week with Joe Burrow and everything. But I still think this is a great matchup. I still think he's a top 10 wide receiver. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they try to push some things more down the field this week against Tennessee, potentially. 9, Deebo Samuel against Arizona. I think his usage will go down now that Ayuk is back, but he's still a good play. 10, Chris Olave against Tampa Bay. Olave has the most receiving yards in the NFL without a receiving touchdown. I think it comes this weekend against Tampa Bay. Even with Jameis, I'm still putting him out there. 11, Jalen Waddle. He plays Buffalo this weekend. Like I said, high-scoring matchup. I think Jalen Waddle is going to get going very soon. He's still a great fantasy football wide receiver. 12, Puka Nucua. I expect him to be hyper-targeted in this game against Indy. Great matchup for him. And we have another week at least before Kupp is back, so throw him out there. CeeDee Lamb against New England. Tough matchup for him, and I think he would be the guy they would try to take out of the game as their top option, so that's why he's a little bit farther down this week. 14, Calvin Ridley against Atlanta. Still high hopes for Calvin Ridley. Just want this Jacksonville offense to get back on course. 15, Devonta Smith. He plays Washington this week. Not his best game last week, but, things are going to go back and forth. That's how wide receiver goes. Still very high confidence in Devonta Smith. Amari Cooper plays Baltimore this week. Really like Amari Cooper rest of season. But, yeah, this is a good matchup for him, and you're playing him. He should have had 2 touchdowns last week if it wasn't for a blown call. 17, T. Higgins. Like I said, great matchup for him against Tennessee. He didn't have the game he won last week. Drops-wise, things like that, I think he gets it figured out this week, and he could have a monster game. 18, Michael Pittman Jr. He's heavily targeted. I think he'll be able to produce in this matchup against the Rams, even with Anthony Richardson, like the switch from Gardner. He's been productive with both quarterbacks, so I really have no worries for him there. And moving forward, that makes me feel a lot better about him season long. 19, DK Metcalf against the Giants. Just a good touchdown upside each and every week, and a solid matchup against the pass for him. They're not, nothing special, nothing crazy good, nothing crazy bad. They're kind of middle of the pack, and mostly they're 17th against the pass. Brandon Ayuk, or against, fantasy wide receivers. Brandon Ayuk, I have at 20 in his return game. I think he'll be good, and they play Arizona. I don't know how long this game will last. 21, Christian Watson against Detroit. If he is playing, I am playing him. It is that simple, and especially against Detroit, they're going to spoil up some points in that game. 22, Tyler Lockett against the Giants. Good matchup for him. I think Lockett's very undervalued rest of season. He's basically got off to the start you were kind of hoping for him. I guess, he was banged up in that one game. He had 2 bad drops in this last game. But, usage-wise, Tyler Lockett has been heavily involved in the offense over JSN. 23, Jacoby Myers. He had 12 targets last week. Like I said, last in the league are the Chargers against stopping the wide receiver, so you're playing Jacoby Myers. 24, George Pickens against Houston. Pickens. Oh, one play I said about Jacoby Myers. If he's one of those guys, I think you can play every week, and if he doesn't score a touchdown, you'll be fine. But the weeks that he scores touchdowns, he's going to be absolutely phenomenal for fantasy football. So Jacoby Myers does have that going for him moving forward. Really solid base with the target utilization he gets and a high upside because of those targets if he does get a touchdown. George Pickens, he had 75 yards last week. I think he'll have another good week against Houston. Garrett Wilson, he dropped down pretty quickly, but he's playing Kansas City. I still have hope for him moving forward. Mike Evans plays New Orleans. I think he'd be a lot higher. New Orleans is giving him problems with that Marshawn Lattimore matchup. 27, Adam Thielen. He plays Minnesota, so it's weird to see that opponent next to his name. Ton of utilization last week, especially if Andy Dalton plays again. I'd be playing him. Even if Bryce Young plays, I'm still playing him just because of the matchup and the target volume if you need somebody. 28, Tank Dell. He's been phenomenal in recent weeks. His utilization's gone up and up. Plays Pittsburgh this week. Good matchup for him. I'm playing Tank Dell. 29, Cortland Sutton. He's playing Chicago this week. Sutton's a solid wide receiver. This is a decent matchup for him. His utilization has gone up each and every week so far, so that's good to see. 30, Terry McLaurin against Philly. Dotson has not been the guy. I think McLaurin, as he gets healthier and healthier, will be. We always knew he's going to be the guy, but I think he's getting closer to being himself. I guess what I'm saying. And he's got a good matchup against Philly. I don't know what else they'll be able to get done offensively besides going to him. 31, DeAndre Hopkins against Cincinnati. I think he'll be much better than he was last week. I think this will be just kind of a get right back game for just the Titans in general. Obviously, Hopkins just hasn't been great so far to start the season, but if he gets back, I think he could easily be wide receiver 18 to 24, somewhere in that range next week if he has a get-back game. If he doesn't, we're really starting to get worried. 32, Tutu Atwell against Indy. He's had a good amount of targets each and every week. 33, DJ Moore against Denver. This is a good matchup, so I think you can play him. I think he would be a little bit higher, but I don't know if I would say it's a good matchup, especially for the lead receiver, because you're probably going to draw Pat Surtain. He is a really good corner. That worries me for DJ Moore. I'm probably trying to sit him on my bench if I can. 34, Jerry Jeudy, good matchup against Chicago. 35, Zay Flowers. He plays Cleveland. Really tough against the wide receiver, but he's been heavily targeted so far to start this year. And another guy who's been targeted but just hasn't turned into fantasy production so far is Elijah Moore. He's going to be a guy I think you can play against Baltimore. The targets are coming. Fantasy points will come too at some point soon. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.